Hey everyone, happy Thursday, June 22nd. It's actually right at 12 o'clock on the West Coast. Time for another market update. It was a short week in the markets this week. Monday was a federal holiday, so nothing was going on Monday. Starting Tuesday, though, we got May's housing starts and permits. So new construction, basically what's going on in the future and what's going on that level. So looking at those numbers, the new builders are continue to do great. Their optimism's up according to their optimism index. And if you look at these housing starts and permits, you can see year over year housing starts are up 5.7%. Single family starts are down 6.6. So the starts and SF starts is including just single family, where starts is including multifamily. And then looking at permits are down year over year, but up month over month. And permits are, the first thing people are going to do before they build is pull permits. So that's something we look at as far as future inventory. And then completions were up 9.5% month over month. Single family completions only 3.9. Again, down year over year. So, really we're still in an inventory shortage. This is great. This is much needed housing, but you just knowing how many household formations we get each year and what's going on in the country, we're still behind the ball. We still need a lot more housing, which is not good for people looking for housing, but it's good for current homeowners, because that's going to keep their home prices a little elevated since there's not a lot of competition for them. Next thing we got was May existing home sales. We got that today. So that was up 0.2%. It was expected to be down 1%. And taking a closer look at these numbers, still it's a bit stronger than expected, but still down 20.4% year over year. Median home price ticked up a little bit. The media is going to make a big point about it being down 3.1% year over year. But like we talked about, a lot of things play in the median. There's a lot more lower price home selling, things like that. So the numbers can get kind of a little skewed. And then inventory, it's up a little bit from 1.04 to 1.08, still only a 3-month supply. Normal market's about 4.6. And then, the two things that jump out here is the 18 days on market. So it went from 29 to 22 to 18. And then 74% of homes are sold in less than 30 days. That ticked up too. So what that shows is, homes that are priced correctly right now, even with not a lot of demand because our mortgage rates are so high, those homes are selling super fast. And, just talking to people in the industry, that seems to be the case. The properties are sitting a little bit longer, are probably priced a little higher than, the market is saying. And then first-time home buyers tick down a little bit, cash buyers tick down, and investors tick down. So obviously on my side of things, I'd like to see more loans, less cash buyers, but whatever's going to get someone in the house, that's what we need to root for, because again, a lot of shortage in housing in this country right now. And then next thing we got today as well was initial job claims. Initial job claims were expected to come in about 260. They're up to 264. Take a closer look at these numbers. So we can see this 4-week average is up to 256 now. You see when it jumped up, and those are elevated. And again, not something we want to root for as far as more people being unemployed. But we also know that the Fed is paying very close attention to these numbers, and seemingly, they want the employment market to break. That's when they're gonna, give. That's when they're gonna, pivot. So we don't want this to get too bad, but anything that shows maybe the job market weakening a little bit, hopefully plays in our favor as far as how the Fed is looking at things. Purchase apps were up 2% last week, still down 32% year over year. No inventory, no one applies. Plus rates are not very great either, as we know. So miscellaneous stuff. So this is the stuff that really, these first two items are really what drove the market this week. We had Fed speakers, today, right now, I think he's done now, but Fed Chair Powell met with Congress the last 2 days, gave prepared remarks, and then did a Q&A. That's been a lot of the different Fed speakers, Bostic, a couple Bowman, I believe, spoke today. And they're all telegraphing the same thing, all making it sound like, we're going to at least do one more hike, maybe two. They all have different takes, but none of them are kind of in our favor. They're all kind of prepping the market for more hikes in the future, no cuts, things like that. And then the other thing that happened is that UK a couple nights ago got really bad inflation numbers, the highest they've been in a while. Their inflation is a lot different than ours. They rely heavily on gas. They're not part of the whole Brexit thing has hurt them a lot. So, their inflation's a little bit different than ours, a lot different than ours, but the market's reacting negatively to that. And then today, the Bank of England rose, they did their rate hike and they did 50, half a point. The markets were expecting over there, were expecting a quarter, and they went up a half a point. So markets on our end have reacted a little bit to that. And then other banks, I think Bank of Turkey raised today for the first time in 2 years. So globally, banks are hiking, but again, that affects our stuff. But at the same time, it's where we started hiking a lot quicker than a lot of these places. So we should be in a different spot. The markets are reacting negatively, though. You couple that with especially Fed Chair Powell indicating maybe 2 more hikes this year. That's had a big negative effect on the market. And then real quick, one little thing, CoreLogic came out with a rent report. We've talked about this as far as rent inflation and how that's affecting inflation. They showed it again dropping, I think down to 2.7% month over month. So again, the forward-looking metrics are all showing, or the more present metrics are all showing rent inflation going down, while these inflation reports coming from the government are showing rent inflation still going up, which is not true, we know. So where does that leave us? The average 30-year conventional ticked up from 6.94 to 6.95. We're really kind of hanging out in that high 6 level right now. The markets are really being driven by this narrative, coming from the Fed as far as future rate hikes. So not a lot of progress, just kind of treading water really over the last few weeks. We've, jumped up close to 7, come back closer to, maybe 6.8, and then kind of going back closer to 7 now. So not where we want to be. In the future, we hope that things get a little bit better on that front, based on all the numbers and the data going forward. And speaking of, we have, coming up. So next Friday, we get the PCE inflation report. We know the Fed's going to be paying really close attention to that, especially the core rate. We really, really hope that we see some gains there. Hopefully, we see that rent inflation come down. We see, some of the, the used car prices come down in there, and we see some meaningful gains. Any positive, movement as far as inflation coming down will play in our favor as far as what the Fed will do in July. Then we got the BLS in July 7th, CPI July 12th, and then July 26th is the Fed's next meeting. Right now, the markets are saying 77% chance that they're going to hike again. They're going to pause, like they just did at their last meeting in June, and then they're going to hike in July. There's a long time between now and then. I think the markets are getting a little ahead of themselves. I wouldn't trust anything the Fed is saying based on all the other things you could point to that they have said in the past that haven't come true. But at this point, the markets are reacting. The markets are dictating where mortgage rates go, and dictate how the market, how things are going to go. So, it is what it is. So, we've got to hang in there. It's still a great time to buy if you can afford it. If you can afford the payments, you're going to find yourself in a worse situation if you wait for rates to come down. Because, when this inventory situation where we have no inventory, if demand picks up, that's just going to drive prices higher. We see prices ticking up higher across the country. That's going to continue to happen with no inventory. So, if you find a place you love and you can afford the payment, I would do it now. Cash, loan, whatever it is. So if anybody needs anything at all, please have a great day. Next week, I'm actually going to be on vacation. I'll be out of the state, but I'll probably still do a quick video for you guys because I've done one every week since I started doing these. So I don't like breaking streaks. So I'll probably do another video, but it probably won't be as extensive. So I hope everybody has a great week. If you need anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day, everybody.